Thank you very much for gathering to listen to my personal project, which is to be redesigning the entirety of my bedroom. And I know some people, before we begin, I know some people may question how this may help the community around me or anyone else around the world. That will be explained later on at an important point that actually many people suffer from. So, first of all, I'd like to discuss my goals for why I wanted to do this project to begin with. What was my goal for this? So, before this project was started, I had been living in an ordinary room I had since my childhood. And that was what was bothering me. I was living in a room that I had lived in for most of my life, surrounded by my nostalgia and my childhood and my past. And I wanted to grow out of that shell and to show more maturity in my current expression and personality, which is what pushed me to show a new way of how people can change through not just their actions or words. And why did I specifically pick to redesign my entire room? Well, the reason why is because while most people are anxious or fearful about the fact of change, because sometimes it can be a very big deal to change from something that you've always had in the past, I found myself wanting to change to show how change is not as difficult as one may think. Sure, of course, when I did eventually finish the project and redesign my entire bedroom, it did take some time to adapt to the new style of how I'm going to live in this room, but eventually I grew to like it more than my past and nostalgic childhood bedroom, since it showed my more mature personality and it showed how I can feel more happy and comfortable in my current life. This is a small picture along with many of the ones here that show said bedroom. The original plan of the global context was to show that my cultural and personal expressions and preferences can be showed in how I wish to design my bedroom. And yes, it is very much related to many of the shows I watch, since they inspire me to become better mentally and physically. Now, for the research I conducted to perform said project, I had to make sure to be proper with the things I would research. Firstly, I had to make sure how would I redesign my entire room. I had the giant wallpaper as seen here in the pictures. I had a giant wallpaper of an old movie named Monsters Inc. or Monsters University, and I really wanted to change it. And although it was sad, because I knew that a certain someone in my family always loved to see it, I had to tear it down so that I can replace it with something I thought would be better for me. So after the purchasing of proper tools and the use of proper experience from people who can assist me, who are adults, and also the purchasing of proper painting, I was able to properly tear down the wallpaper and properly redesign almost every wall in the entire bedroom, along with replacing the old Monsters University or Monsters Inc. Wallpaper with something I find more mature. Can you go back for a moment? I do want to talk about what sources helped me discover that these things were important. I had also learned that although some tools in my home, I thought they were going to be enough. But it turns out that, from sources I found on Reddit or Twitter, or currently known as X, I had found out I needed more specialized tools and specialized paint in order to actually perform this project. This has been discovered after I decided to take a little more research into the proper experience needed to perform said project. So I had taken this into account and purchased the proper materials in order to properly perform this. So my success criteria. My original success criteria for this project included me having the proper ability to perform this project without minimal to no accidents or minimal to no mistakes, and to make it actually look good. Because my childhood bedroom, it looked on its own, it looked incredible, even if it was a bit childish. And I wanted to make something that was mainly more unique in the sense that it would show maturity, but it would also not completely ruin the fact that my room now looks completely different. Since I, of course, wanted it to be unique and good, but not unique and it looks terrible to the normal naked eye. So what organization strategies did I use? I wasn't able to pull up a chart or table for this, but I was able to describe it in basic words that by time I was gathering all the materials needed in order to perform my project, and then I requested adult assistance from those close to me, like family members or those who can assist me. And then I began tearing down my previous wallpaper and starting the real project right after I tore it down by painting the walls, making sure to redesign the room, and sticking on an entirely new wallpaper. Now, what were the planning tools that I used? What were the methods that I used in order to organize myself properly? First of all, we're going to be going clockwise here. I had to get the special tools required to even properly take down the wallpaper without damaging the wall. So the first thing we did was we went to an area where they specialized in selling these tools, and we got the tools. Then we it's supposed to have a T here. It was a bit tiring to tear down the wall to begin with, but getting the specific paint required, it was actually rather easy to get the paint. The only problem with it is that I couldn't find the specific color I was looking for, but I found what was similar enough and I still appreciated. Afterwards, I got assistance from adults who are close family members or friends of mine, and I began to tear down the wallpaper with them and completely redesign the room from there by repainting it with the new color and then replacing the old wallpaper with the new one. Now for the creation. My personal project's complete redesign is changing its childish look into a more mature one, as I said, and this is to show that my personal project can help those who are unable to move on. Because I'm pretty sure most of you already know this, there are some people in the world who don't know how to properly change. Some people in the world, they're mostly stuck to their past or childhood because they're unable to find a way to push themselves out of their comfort zone. So what I did is prove that although I was stuck in my comfort zone for a very long period of time, until I was currently 15, as I am, I can show change, maturity, and I can show that even through this new big change I've done, I can show adaptability to my new life. And how did I... It's okay. How did I make sure that the success criteria met all of my goals? My main way of noticing that it met all of my goals was to make sure that it was done perfectly step by step and to be done in the time frame where it was meant to be submitted. Along with the fact that I had to have a specific amount of required time to purchase the tools and the paint required for it, and I needed assistance from adults. The entire project actually took much less time than I originally thought it would. It just took time to prepare for it since I needed assistance with that. Now, journal highlights. What mainly should I have journaled about my journey that can reveal how I progressed with this? One thing that was revealed to me was my desire to fully show my work through the maturity of my actions, and I had risen from my past and prepared for the future, or even prepared for the present, rather than remained in the past. Because as you know, the world's progressing, but we are not. We have to make sure that we progress along with the world to make sure that we can keep up with the current timeline. If we don't, then we'll be stuck in the past for either our entire lives or until we realize that we wasted our entire lives hoping that something would happen that would keep us in the past, and in reality, we wouldn't be going anywhere. Now, for the ATL skills I mainly used 2 ATL skills rather than 3. The main ones I used were thinking skills and communication. The communication skills came from communicating with adults or friends who were helping me with this project, and the thinking skills were coming from how I would be finding the resources required and what kind of sources would I use to help me get assistance with this. Because although I myself wasn't going to be posting online for assistance asking, is this good or is this good? I was going to at least check what other people have done beforehand and see what the other people have submitted in their comment section to see what they may have recommended to be greater than what they have already done. So, did my project meet my own expectations? I found that my expectations were actually met by the project, since it showed that I had changed from what I had previously been. And I also found myself slightly more impressed that it matched in so well and how I adapted more quickly than I originally thought I would. Because I had imagined myself needing more time to adapt to this new project rather than actually adapting to it within just like a week or two. And how did I know that this personal project of mine was useful? It was showing me growing mature, as I've said multiple times already, and it shows me from a new perspective. It's as if my entire life I had been under a specific light that was the light of my childhood, and now I'm being shown from a different perspective, from a different side and a different angle completely, by a new light, which would be my teenage years / young adult years, to showcase my maturity rather than my childhood. Now, how did I, as Marwan, personally grow from this project? The way I personally grew from this project is I realized that by performing this project and realizing just how impressive it was that it was going so well, I realized that I have the potential to do this almost any time at any place, and not just in redesigning a room. I could redesign anything I want, I could change anything I want, I could do anything as long as I put my heart and soul into it. So this taught me that with enough patience, with enough determination, with enough willpower, I will have the ability to perform whatever action I want. And this means that I am able to change whenever I want. So I benefited from this by understanding more about thinking, more about the perspective of life I am currently in, and more about the communication of which I always find myself using. Now, this is the final slide of my presentation and the final message I have to everyone who has been here since focusing and listening on me listing out everything about my project. Thank you very much.